Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's the Political Brown Kid here, and I did want to do this video. I'm actually covered this topic already before, but I'm going to actually cover it again because, like I said, I was just kind of thinking about some things, and something actually happened to me yesterday, and well, not to me, but it happened on television that I was watching something, well, maybe in a YouTube video that I was watching, and it did kind of bring something to mind, and that is why black people, black professionals particularly, I'm going to say black professionals, why black professionals have issues dating each other. And I've kind of run into this myself. As you all know, I'm on the dating scene and I'm kind of, exploring options and so forth. And I've kind of noticed this as well. And what I mean by black professionals, I mean, us, you can consider maybe say white collar workers. You don't have to be earning a particularly lot of money. You can just be in a, I guess, what should I say, professional, um, role or capacity. But it seems as though we had problems dating one another. And it seems as though, too, and I think what I was watching was a video, it was talking about why women date Pookies and Ray Rays. I hate that term, Pookies and Ray Rays. I really do, but I'm going to say it because that was the title of the video, like why sisters still date Pookies and Ray Rays. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I have seen it too as well. And also I've kind of experienced it, when you're in the dating scene, it's just been kind of hard dating a female that's also been a professional. It seems like I'm a professional, I make a certain amount of money, she makes a certain amount of money, but we just can't get together and hit it off. And it seems as though, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I have better luck with hood rats, as we used to call them back in the day, hood rats, aka ghetto chicks, if that's what you want to call them, or should I just say, not necessarily ghetto chick, but just chicks from probably a lower income bracket. It seems as though I have better luck with them and hanging out with them than I do with females that are like in my socioeconomic bracket. And here are just my thoughts, and I've said this in several videos before, but I'm gonna say it again. The three top areas that I'm going to cover is I think that us black professionals, we don't find each other physically attractive. We don't find each other interesting. So the first one was we don't find each other physically attractive. The second one is we don't find each other interesting. And the third point is that we have differences of views that turn each other off. So I'm going to cover them real quick. And again, I'm trying to make fast videos. So if you want me to elaborate, I'll elaborate in the comment section. When I say that we don't find each other physically attractive, I think what happens is this, and I know what did happen with me. When you're a professional, sometimes you have particular obligations. Those professional jobs, you're more than less likely sitting down for 8 hours a day, maybe 10 hours a day. And so you're mostly just sitting at a desk all day long, or you're bouncing from meeting to meeting, you're on Teams meeting. So you're basically doing work that you're not required to exert any type of energy for the day. And you get into that pattern or habit of just kind of sitting and being stagnant. And then also too, you just get comfortable. The more money you make, then you start eating out more, you start eating good. And you're not really watching what you put in your body. And you think just because you're eating at a restaurant that you're eating healthy, but you're actually not. So I think we kind of let ourselves go as professionals. Whereas when you see like, like the young hood dudes or the young hood chicks, if you're in those type of jobs, like sometimes like if you're a hood chick, if you dancing on a pole, you got to keep yourself in shape. Or if you're a hood dude, you may have one of those jobs where like if you're a mechanic or you're in garbage, sanitation engineer, you're constantly moving, or you're doing construction, you're in a job where you kind of have constant movement. So you're burning calories more than what we would do. And so that's kind of one thing. Or if you just don't have a job at all, sometimes those people just, hey, look, I got time on my hands. I can play ball all day. I can go lift weights. They're doing stuff and they keep themselves in good physical shape. And plus, too, you have time to think. Like, a lot of times if you don't have a job, the idle mind is the devil's playground. So all you have on your mind all day long is, intimate encounters with the opposite sex. So you're working on keeping your body right because you have nothing else really better to do with your time. Well, I shouldn't say better, but you have nothing else like professionally going on. So we just don't keep ourselves in shape. And then, so I think that too, and also the other thing is when you're in that physical status position, once you start climbing those corporate status, and I can probably speak to this better for men than women, so I don't know if this applies to women, but I think it definitely applies to men. Once we get into that bracket where you're earning, you're a high earner, or you start climbing those top ladders, you feel as though you start becoming attracted to, I think, women with a particular phenotype. You start looking for people with more European features. And I'm not trying to say that I particularly do this, but I think you can see a lot of men, they particularly want, or they particularly try to go after, women that, have more, I guess, they can pass the brown paper bag test, they can pass the comb test, the phenotypes, aside from the lips. We do, men like women with plump lips, but they don't want the nose, and even sometimes with the skin color, not unless she's drop dead gorgeous and she has other European features going for her, they will pass over, those other females that are darker. And so I don't know if that applies for women too, but I think that it really does, because I think that as women start making money, women start becoming more like men. Women stop looking at the, because before, when a woman doesn't have anything, if she has limited resources, she's looking for a man with resources. So she'll be like, okay, well, I'll pass him over, I'll accept him because he's not in, great physical shape, or he doesn't look that great, but he has a great job and he can take care of me. But when a woman is able to take care of herself and she's doing good and she's doing very well, providing for herself, she doesn't really need a man that has those resources. So what she's going after more so is eye candy. So she starts becoming like men. She's like, I'm looking for a man too. He has to have a great body. He has to phenotypically have those, European features. And I want that man to look like that, especially the longer and longer we hang out with white people and live in a white world, because you can see what black people are becoming more and more Hellenized. You have a lot more interracial dating, and you have a lot more people being born with those, those European features, so to speak, that's what people are looking for and desiring. So that's the first thing. The second point is, when I say that we don't find each other interesting, what I mean is that when we go out, and I've had this happen to me as well, so I'll speak from experience on this, and so feel free to disagree. Our initial conversations are more business and civilized. So it's like, you come up in a business, in a professional environment, you carry yourself professionally all day long. You see this woman, she is a professional person. So you automatically kind of assume, okay, well, I got to come at her a certain way because, shorty not freaking all like that. I got to carry her in a proper manner. So you get into these conversations where they're more businesslike, they're more, they're civil, they're structured. You're doing regular type of things, and that's not really kind of sometimes pushing her buttons. And similarly, woman may be coming off to a guy in the same manner. She's just talking about regular this, regular that. And maybe sometimes she is a prude. She doesn't want to have those conversations. But a man, we're kind of receptive to jump into those conversations. But, when you see some of the women, they're more, they're, you don't want to say prudish, but, they're not, they don't want to have those type of conversations. They shy away from that, especially in the beginning, because they don't really know you. That kind of turns some of the guys off, because we're just kind of like, I want to not get put into the friend zone. I want to see if shorty is at least receptive to kind of having those interesting conversations with me. But when you just start having regular civilized conversations about, politics, life, and religion, and moon, stars, quasars, and all that other stuff, it kind of loses interest fast. And then I think women, they'll be like, okay, well, I'm just going back to, the little street joker, because he's more interested and fun to talk to, and I can let my hair down and I can be myself, and he's going to accept me for my flaws. And the guy is doing the same thing. He's running back to the little hood girl because she'll accept him for letting his hair down. But we don't get together with each other and say, hey, look, you like to have these type of conversations too? And we don't get together and do that. The second point, when I say not interesting, and this kind of goes to the women, is they want that more excitement and danger right in their life. So, the hood dude can fulfill that better than a corporate guy. A hood dude, and I've seen this even on profiles, dating profiles, where girls will say, yeah, I need a street dude, but he's civilized. They'll say certain stuff like that. They're looking for a guy that's going to, that feels comfortable walking through, shady neighborhoods, that'll take them to shady spots, and so they can feel like they in the streets, and they can feel like they in particular environments, but at the same time they're safe because they know they with him. He know all of the people in the streets, he know all the people in the neighborhoods. When you start becoming a professional, you may have come from those neighborhoods, but after a certain amount of time, you're kind of disconnected from those neighborhoods and the people in those neighborhoods, so you really don't have those ties to the streets all like that. And sometimes you just don't want to go back to those particular spots. So you may just hang out in spots that she considers to be boring. And you're kind of doing really the same things. It's like, oh, well, we're going out to dinner here and then we're going to go there. He just wants to do the same stuff. But she just wants to do some more exciting and interesting things. And we're just not pushing those buttons as more corporate white collar dudes. And then, I think for guys, we assume that professional women are very conservative in bed. So we don't kind of engage in those conversations like we do with like hood chicks. You assume just because a girl is of a lower economic status and she has, she's strapped for resources that, she's a particular way. And so you can talk to her a particular way. And that's not the case all the time. And it's not the case too, like for women, like for some women that are very professional, they want to be talked to in a particular way. But a lot of times we'll take more chances with the hood chick, that we can talk in a particular manner. And sometimes she'll let us get away with those kind of conversations because she's like, well, I really want this to work with him, and because he has those resources, so I'll let him. I'll give him some leeway. I'm not going to let him do whatever he wants to me. She may or may not say. But she's like, I'll let him get away with some of his conversations or entertain it because I'm kind of liking him, or, I want to be with him. And so I think that those are the reasons as far as we not finding each other interesting. We find each other just rather to be kind of relatively boring in conversation and just things that we do. And then finally, I'll just say that the difference is, and then also too, let me just say this too, because women love to travel. So it's just sticking with this point of being interesting. Women love to travel. So especially if a hood dude has money, like if he's just a street hustler for whatever reason, he has time on his hands to just travel. Like if she wants to just go somewhere, if he has resources to travel, or if she's willing to pay for him to travel, because some women will be sugar mamas to dudes. He's ready, willing, and able to go because he has nothing else going on in his life. And if she's paying for him to go, he's definitely in. And if he has the means to go, he's definitely in. But with a guy that has a job, maybe he has to plan his schedule, she has to plan hers, and maybe things may or may not align. Or maybe he's kind of being more frugal with his money. Maybe he's like, look, I can't take 3 and 4 trips a year. I got other things going on. I got investments. I got this. I can probably take 1 trip with you, but I can't do all of this other stuff. And that turns her off. And the final thing I'm going to say when I say that we have a difference of views on each other, I will say that women are more liberal and men are more conservative, particularly when you're talking about professional men and professional women. So if you look at it, women are just defending everything. They'll defend LGBTQ. They're very feminist. They will defend a lot of very liberal, like when I say very liberal, I'm talking about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez type. They're like way to the far left. And women are, I had a woman tell me one time, what does it matter to you about pronouns? Because I told her, I was like, I don't feel the need. This was just my personal opinion. I was like, I don't know why people feel the need to announce their pronouns. To me, it's just dumb. And I'm just kind of like, oh, and then she jumped on me and turned it into, she was like, well, what do you mean? What does it matter to you? And she just went all in on that. And so, that became a conversation, and I just cut the conversation off because I didn't want to get into an argument. So I was just like, whatever. I said, let's just respectfully agree to disagree. And I just kept it moving. But women are very, very hyper liberal. And guys are very, very hyper conservative. Now, I'll say this about guys. I'm not trying to say, when I say we're conservative, I'm not trying to say we're a member of the Republican Party, because I think what keeps a lot of men away from the Republican Party is their views on race, particularly black men. I think that that's the thing, and I'll say that particularly for me. Maybe I should say that particularly for me. If they didn't have the views that they had on race, if they were more racially sensitive to, systemic racism and the problems that black people face historically in this country, I probably would be more supportive of them, but they're not. So I wouldn't be supportive of them. But as far as their views on like certain things that are going on in society, I understand it. So and I agree to it to some extent. I agree to some things. I agree to some things that I'm probably would say I'm more centrist than anything. But I think that men kind of we lean towards that center, and if not slightly leaning slightly right. And, I think that those differences of opinions can sometimes shut women down. I don't think it really shuts men down for the most part, because men, we're like, because once again, I think men are very easygoing, and women, you may disagree with me on that, but men are like, we'll accept a woman for quote unquote flaws. And I'm not going to say that that's a particular flaw, but it is something that's a turn off for us. So we'll accept certain things. We'll be like, okay, well, yeah, I'm not going to get rid of Shorty because, she has this one opinion, or maybe because, okay, Shorty, we don't throw away women because of slight shortcomings. But women are quick to write guys off. If they present, as women like to say, red flags. If they see one, like women will tell you, you read their bio, if I see one red flag, I'm out. So it's just kind of like, wow, people are always going to present a red flag, because sometimes people have bad days. Sometimes people just have bad moments within days, bad seconds within days. But, we don't throw people away because people have a bad moment. And we don't look at it as being a future indicator of bad behavior. At least men don't. But I think women look at it and they typically just write men off, particularly older women. I'm going to say that. I think older women have been through a lot. I don't know what it is, but they just throw away people. And so I think when they start seeing guys with conservative views, to bring this back full circle, when they start seeing guys express these views that aren't 100% supportive of gay rights and trans rights and pronouns and all this other stuff, women are just kind of like, I don't know if I can rock with you, because women are like just in all or nothing. If you're not supportive of all of their liberal opinions, they really get turned off with you and they stop dealing with you. That's just like a woman too. Like some women are like, if you're not a Catholic, if you're not Christian, don't talk to me. Well, how many guys in 2024 are Christian? Or like a devout cat. Like, some people now are just like, I'm spiritual. I kind of, I got some things going on that I'm trying to work out. And women are just kind of like, well, if you're not this, then I'm not messing with you. So those are the reasons why I think that, you find within the black sector, and I think this is even true for white people as well. So I really shouldn't necessarily say black professionals, but this is true even so probably with white people as well. This applies to them as well. Because, white women, they want a street guy, whatever the mean Caucasian streets look like. I don't know, the mean streets of West Virginia, I have no idea. But, I'm pretty sure this applies to them as well. So everybody, just feel free to drop your comments in on this video. Definitely hit the like and subscribe button. This is the Political Brown Kid. I'm out of here.